Enabling anything to stay in his path, Isambard realm Brunel constructed through gorges, tunneled by rivers and via mountain range to build rail channel, stations, bridges, viaducts and docks. His 3 sea vessels, the Large West, Large Britain and Large East, were the largest, fastest and largest progressive were always seen. Yet the man who constructed the Clifton suspend axle and the Large West rail was tortured by personality doubt, especially while it came to his miniature growth. Brunel's high school paper of 1821 shows he was a precociously gifted kid, of whom the teaching staff at the institution of M.R. Masson in Paris had large consumer expectations. Over Brunel's previous pledge was the steel wool of his France-born engineering dad Sir Mark Brunel, who was established his just son would pursue in his footsteps. I don't believe it is unwise to say how out of Sir Mark Brunel down there wouldn't be the Isambard realm Brunel we aware present, told M.S. Tritton. Sir Mark learned his son to paint as a really youthful kid and shipped him to high school in France while he was 14-year-old to get the engineering formation how was inaccessible in Britain. His tutor informed how Brunel's behavior was for rebuke and he excelled in Deutsche, maths and figure. How proven to be one of the large advantages he had above Thomas Telford and George Stephenson and some engineering personnel of his general, told M.S. Tritton. As a boy Brunel could already do really facility calculations and engineering drawings. In 1822, at the age of 16, Brunel refundable to England to job as an engineering in his dad. He desperate desired approval via his job, aspiration social adoption quite rather than popularity. In one journal accession, he wrote, "As I undergo several unidentified man who maybe does not though see at me I capture myself hard to see big on my slight pony." He berates oneself for considerate so lot on which human beings believe, told M.S. Tritton, who describes Brunel as possessing brief man symptom. As his popularity and luck grew, Brunel learned how to face mask his insecurities. Same's poised and sure in the renowned picture of him in front line of chains of the Large East, but we aware of his diaries how he was completely exhausted by personality doubt, M.S. Tritton told. Yet, he as well understood how he necessary to draft a specific picture in procedure to be success and we can all know how. Brunel utilized to set his look by the really watch, that has never been displayed in social up. Brunel's effect on period is really essential, told M.S. Tritton. Up the Large West Rail connection among Bristol and London, down there was slight cause why a watch in the southward western should speak the identical period as the one in London. Bristol, thus, had its own period area, about 10 protocol slower. It was the building of the rail and the requirement for standardized timetabling that led to united GMT period through the nation. Time Brunel was a revolutionist in lot ways, he yet had to trust on conventional toolkit. These figure curves, coded in ink spills and Mel symbolism, were utilized by Brunel to style several of his largest renowned projects, of the Clifton suspend axle to the Large West Rail Link and London Paddington plant. They were completely key to Brunel's capacity to do his work, all had to be made manual and it was crucial for Brunel to include accurate toolkit, told M.S. Tritton. Figure curves were yet creature utilized in style offices through the planet more than rather than 100 year following Brunel's die, though in the other part of the 20th age machine-aided style, HAM, revolutionized architecture and mechanical engineering practices. Brunel wouldn't be Brunel out of his renowned Sig. A slogger, routinely setting in 20-time days, Brunel inflated his way via more than rather than 40 cigars a date, that he transferred in him in the dark skin instance. Stamped. Athenaeum Clubhouse Vale Shopping Center, the instance, that while outdoor yet concluded a partially smoked cig, says lot more than on him rather than his desire for snuff. A superb marketer, Brunel consumable a lot of period at the Athenaeum Clubhouse, shut to his London offices. Down there he courted the large and the nice of London community to behind his aspiring projects, that necessary extensive amounts of equity. The cigars he so enjoyed were a portion of his own thoroughly designed picture, on to M.S. Tritton. He is immediately identifiable, nearly a mark in the cig and top bonnet. In a link-up of some 19th-age engineering personnel, who could recognize Stevenson or Telford. All would aware Brunel. As showing the trial he went via as he planned his large plant, Brunel's sketchbooks as well propose a picture of his naughty party. Which is very remarkable on these sketchbooks is the quantity of ways how Brunel is loading his site on how web page, told Ms. Tritton. Down there are slight doodles through his job, how slight time while you halt which thou remaking and let yours reason roam, he's really humane. Reflecting oneself on document was thing Brunel learned of his dad and they corresponded routinely, written fond letters comprising lot of sketches. They had a shut and loving relation and his dad was one of the very large source of force to Brunel, told Ms. Tritton. Sir Mark backed him via the ups and downs of his mechanical engineering career or, while Isambard lose a contest to construct the Clifton suspend axle in 1829, the senior Brunel shipped his son a email in a whimsical style for the axle, ambitiously address it to Monsieur Isambard Realm Brunel. Though the son was never knighted, the dad became Sir Mark in 1841. His faith in his son pay away, Brunel went on to resubmit his designs for the axle, winner the agreement in 1831. By the 1850s, the distress of operating his giant projects was start to show. Brunel was put by blood pressure to conduct a success social start for the Large East. At the period it was the largest vessel always constructed and his finance backers were panicky. Versus Brunel's will, and in an previous bid to compensate several of the investors' cash money, 4,000 tickets were sold out to human beings willing to visit the start of the ship. As a perfectionism, Brunel could not person any opportunity of his thoroughly designed social picture sliding, particularly at such a key time. He privileged a quiet start for his projects in no spectators at all, and wrote in his journal how the selling of tickets for the opening of the Large East, in 1857, was brutal and it was incorrect. By now Brunel's public health was in decrease and he did not dwell to see the Large East back of her damsel journey. He died of a course on 15 September 1859 at the age of 53. His boyfriend and fellow Daniel Gooch wrote, "I lose my senior and top boyfriend." By his die the big of England's engineering personnel was lose, the man in the big singularity of mind and force of implementation, brave in his plans but law. Creature Brunel opening on Friday, March 23.